Good morning. Welcome to another Wine Steward video, perhaps the Wine Steward video of the year. This is when we describe, let's say 40, maybe even 41 of our favorite wines downstairs. The greatest wines of 2020, we could call it. The best. What is best? What is greatest? We really like things that are good for what they are. If the label says something, we want it to taste like that and to be a very, very good example of that. We think we've identified 40 such things, and we're gonna rip through these real quick. The list is written. I got in here very early over the last couple of days to compile 15 minutes of hopefully not too dribblish information on each one of these wines, 1 through 40. Actually, there's 40 and a half, you could say. So I'll be sending this out in just a couple of minutes. You can read it, you can hear about it. If you are clever with your phone and videos, you can in fact match the photos here to by scrolling through the video and finding that label in front of you and hearing me talk about it instead of seeing me or reading all about it. But either way, this is going to be fun, and I am wasting time, aren't I? So let's just get this party started. Wine number 1, and these aren't necessarily in order of greatness, okay? These are just 40 great wines, but let's go way over here and grab this bottle. This is Leidecker Gessinger, or the other way around. It is a Riesling from Germany, Mosel, Germany, 8.5% alcohol. White wine that is 15 years old. It's a 2007. It is gorgeous. I love it when this happens, and sometimes, usually, only German Riesling, especially those from the Mosel, can actually pull it off. This is gorgeous. I'm gonna have it with pork roast for Christmas. It is lovely. This is a 2007 white wine that upon your pouring it will surprise you with the freshness of the color. It's amazing, it's delicious. I get mandarins and limes and, oh, it's lovely wine. But we must move on to this wine, which is an Aligoté. Did you know that white Burgundy is not always Chardonnay? Yes, they also grow this grape, and most of the time, Aligoté should stay in Burgundy. It's just not really highly regarded. It usually grows on the poorest soils, and the farmer makes more money on Pinot Noir, of course, and Chardonnay. So lowly Aligoté, here it is, but this is elevated Aligoté, but the price is not. This is really delicious Aligoté from Vieux Collage. If you want to try the other white Burgundy, get in on this very affordable wine. All right, what have we here? Okay, hey, let's stay in Burgundy. Let's stay in Burgundy. Why not stay in Burgundy for a while? Let's take it up a notch to a Premier Cru Chablis. Premier Cru means that it is from a better vineyard. In this case, a vineyard called Momin. This is delicious and affordable, relatively speaking, for Premier Cru Chablis. This is not $45, not $55. $34.99. How about that? Something like that, man. Just went up $1. $35.99. Sorry. Wine Club members, you get 10% off of that. How about that? Premier Cru Chablis. Zing and flesh on the bones. In this case, really delicious white Burgundy Chardonnay grown in prehistoric seabed. Alrighty, what do we got now? Oh, we are staying in Burgundy, but we're going down south into the Côte de Beaune to one of the arguably 3 greatest places in the entire world for white Burgundy. Chassagne-Montrachet, Puligny-Montrachet, and this Meursault. This is from producer Domaine Parigot. We just brought it in. We just showed it at our best event a couple of weeks ago, and people loved it. Some people proclaimed it the best of the 18 wines we showed that day. Yes, a Chardonnay. You haven't had Chardonnay until you've had beautiful Meursault. Get in on this while we still have some Parigot. Alrighty then. Hey, we're gonna shift gears big time. I gotta get smart and start pulling 2 bottles at a time instead of running a whole mile just for one. Recognize that? Of course you do, but perhaps you've never seen that name on a bottle of Nickel & Nickel Cabernet here in our store. This is the Hain Vineyard Cabernet that we did not get by mistake, but because we were blessed that they were running out, that they had entirely run out of the Solinger Vineyard. So a wonderful person who wanted to give Nickel & Nickel Cabernet as a corporate gift, tasted Solinger, loved it. We've just improved upon that for them, and we have 12 bottles. That's it, left over of Hain Vineyard. Hain Vineyard is in St. Helena, same region as Spotswood, heard of them? This is usually DTC, direct to consumer only for the winery, so unless you're a wine club member at Nickel & Nickel, you have never seen this wine. And you probably never will, again, at the Wine Steward. So get in on a very, very hard to get Nickel & Nickel. Next wine, stay in Napa, why don't we? Let's do some themes. This is Reynolds Family Persistence. They could call it Cabernet because it's 80% thereof. However, they have another wine called Cabernet, and they don't want to have them fight with each other. So Persistence is a red blend based on Cabernet, could be called Cabernet. Gorgeous. Have you ever had like a barrel sample of beautifully fruited wine? It's not even quite ready yet, but man, the boysenberries and blueberries and blackberries and violets are just exploding out of your glass when you have like a great Napa Valley barrel sample. That's what this behaves like, except the tannins are in fact manageable. This is delicious now. It will be delicious later. Reynolds Family just brought it aboard. Beautiful label. That's the mustard that grows in their vineyard. Lovely stuff. Alrighty, we're gonna grab 2 more bottles here. Wait for me, please wait. Okay, thank you for staying. Ehlers Estate. We gave this to the Red Collector Club just a month or 2 ago. We have leftovers. In fact, we have to buy 5 cases at a time in order to get a decent wholesale on it. And so you are the beneficiary, you who haven't had it yet, or you Red Collector Club members who have already tasted it and would like some more. Ehlers Estate. This is the Chunky Monkey Cabernet. This is grown just north of St. Helena. And the winemaker is Laura Diaz Munoz. And maybe you've never heard of her, but she used to make Gallery. And more significantly, at least to those who name names, La Coya and Cardinal. So she's now got a new job, and this is her first vintage from start to finish. Really nice, chunky, what I call ribeye Cabernet, all right? One more Napa wine. Why are we doing all this Napa stuff? We don't usually emphasize Cabernet, right? I mean, we'll have great Napa Cab down there, maybe mention one on this video. We're doing several. Why? Because 2018 and 2019 are both gorgeous vintages, and 2020 probably will not be. In fact, a lot of people won't be bottling a wine from that smoke taint year. So this is just kind of like heads up, get some great 18 and 19s now, because there ain't gonna be all that much 2020. And if it is, it might be smoky. So Arkenstone, heard of them? Small producer, but renowned up on Howell Mountain. This is going to be like roughly half Howell Mountain fruit, and it is softened by Valley Floor fruit. So this particular bottling of theirs called NVD is a little more friendly, more ready to drink, Howell Mountain-ish, but Valley Floor accommodating. All right, beautiful Cabernet from Arkenstone, lovely stuff. Let's get 2 more bottles. Now that we've got this routine figured out, here we go. Oh boy, they're both bubblies. How about that? Champagne, gotta have champagne. Charles Heidsieck, this is hands down my favorite rosé in the store. We have others that are more expensive and perhaps more famous, but this Charles Heidsieck Rosé Reserve or Reserve Rosé or whatever it's called is champagne that tastes like something. It's 3 years on the lees. It is made of Chardonnay, Pinot, and Pinot Meunier, and it uses old stuff too, what they call reserve wine. So it's got things in there that the winery has been saving for years upon years upon years, and in big vats and tanks, those wines develop a little more character. This has character, a little like smoky, yeasty thing, besides the beautiful strawberry and cherry fruit. This is my favorite rosé in the store. Charles Heidsieck, get in on it. Here's another bubbly for you. Oh boy, we've left, it appears that we have left France and Champagne and headed to the Finger Lakes region of New York. This is done by the way, a Ukrainian immigrant starting in 1962 with this winery called Dr. Konstantin Frank. And this, frankly, is one of the best bubblies I have ever had from California at this price point, under $30. Mouthfeel, long time on the lees, gave it nice enrichment. It uses the champagne varieties, Pinot Meunier, Chardonnay, Pinot Noir, and does it for less. Very nice wine from Dr. Konstantin Frank. This is the newly arrived 2018 vintage, bottled, I think, last year, so it spent some nice time on the lees getting nummy numb. Get in on it. Now, how about something really special from Champagne? Let's get fancy. Let's get fancy. Yep, Comte Champagne is back. 2011 vintage. Should play music with that. 2011 vintage Champagne. This is the Tête de Cuvée from Taittinger. Any way you want to say it, we'll all know what you mean when you ask for Taittinger Comte de Champagne. It's their flagship. It is their Tête de Cuvée. What's a Tête de Cuvée? It's the best wine of a champagne house. So like Moet's Best, Dom Perignon, and so on. We don't carry Dom, we don't carry Veuve Clicquot's Le Grand Dame. Basically, you could go to Costco and pay what we are having to pay for it. So it's, you know, this is what we will rest our laurels on. Or resting on our laurels? No, whatever. Yeah, this is good. It can rest for a while on your laurels or in your cellar because it is very nicely wound up. Or you have it in a big fat glass like that Pinot Noir glass and you can smell it, enjoy it right now. Yeah, do that with champagne sometime. It's fun. Goodbye. Where shall we go next? Vamos a España. I have two wines to tell you about from one producer. We still have a little bit of this glorious 2010 downstairs. Is this the 10? This is the 15. Well, we have 10, and as of yesterday, 2015 as well. Prado Anea, 2010 got, I think, 99 points from some guy, and then this has gotten 96s all around from different critics, and this is in very short supply. We got 3 6-packs of Prado Anea, what Muga, Bodegas Muga, would call their best wine. Torre Muga is the other high-end bottling from them, but they have quietly told me at Muga that they think that this is their supreme wine. Beautiful, elegant wine, super ageable. The 2010 can still handle 10 or 15 more years. What does that say about 15? So, boom. We have a little bit of this beautiful Prado Anea. Want to read more? Read those notes that I've written. Now, we sometimes have to get a little real. We can't drink Prado Anea every night. So, how about Viña Santurnea? In fact, you were drinking it at the wine bar, some of you, just a couple of weeks ago. You wiped us out. You recognized the wonderful value happening here. 2016, newly released Reserva Rioja, pricing in the mid-20s, low 20s for Wine Club members getting their discount. This is gorgeous Tempranillo from Briñas, which is only 3 kilometers away from Muga. We visited both producers. This is Ramon and Gonzalo. They are nephew and uncle making this wine together. Beautiful, beautiful stuff. When we visited, we also got to try a 2001 vintage of this. It was glorious. It was kept in a cave, nice and cold. The label was shot. The wine was pristine. So, what does that say about this? Ageable, value. Man, that's cool. That's what Rioja can do. And what else does it do? Just up the street from Bodegas Muga, you can visit these guys, La Rioja Alta, and we, in fact, did. This is a big bottle, isn't it? This is the only way we can sell the 2011 Gran Reserva 904, they call it, from La Rioja Alta. This is fantastic wine. It is young wine. We got a magnum of this open a couple of weeks ago for our big event. It's still young. It's still, what, 11 years old? Man, it is delicious stuff. I need a sip. And in large format, it will age even longer for you. So if you stick it in your cellar, if you have a place for magnums, put it away, forget you have it for at least 5 years. I mean, you can do it right now, decant it, and have it now, but all you need are a few friends to wipe out a beautiful magnum. Available only in this size, barely fits in my hand. Beautiful, beautiful wine. Let's stay in Spain just a couple more times because you know we like that country, and we want to tell you about another Tempranillo, but we are finally leaving Rioja, which is making Tempranillo, right? To go to Toro. Toro, we don't usually put a Toro in front of you, and when we do, it's a wine called Batan. In this case, we're going to show you a new arrival called Dominio del Bendito. And what I love about this is it's not too over the top. It is big, it has big fruit, but it's got proportion and structure and nice tannins in the finish. It would go wonderfully with a lamb chop off the grill. Really nice Tempranillo. An unlikelihood, I would call it, because Toros can be unwieldy. This knows when to stop, but man, it's delicious. I should say and it's delicious. Look what I just put up there. Yes, it's Clio. Clio's back in town. It always comes in early December. Our allocation of 2020 Clio has now arrived. I don't have to tell you anymore. Well, some of you. But this is Monastrell, or Mourvedre, 70% and 30% Cabernet, grown in Jumilla. That's in the southeast part of Spain. And it is rare. And it ages well. Even though it's a big wine, it's big done right. And Monastrell has this magical property of aging. So you can have it now, you can have it later. If you have it now, leave a glass of it in the bottle overnight. That second day's wine will be better. It does that. Okay, what do we have now? One more Spanish wine, one more. Recognize that probably because we've been doing a lot of this at the wine bar lately. I have to cough. Excuse me. And this is Gran Basan Etiqueta Ambar. That means the brown label, up one level of quality from the Etiqueta Verde, which is the green label. At any rate, gorgeous stuff. Got to visit this place in Cambados, which is the land of seafood and shellfish. There's shellfish farms in the river inlets right here, just within view of this vineyard. It's really cool. And that's, in fact, what you eat with this gorgeous, vibrant Albarino, one of the best Albarinos made by Gran Basan. Thank you very much for your hospitality, folks. I'm talking to them, but they can't hear me. They're in Cambados. They're probably asleep. Anyway, this is finally taking us out of Spain and taking us to Italy. for a 100% Sangiovese from Montalcino. Therefore, is it a Brunello di Montalcino costing $60, $80? No, it's Rosso di Montalcino, the baby brother, the little brother. I shouldn't say baby, this is no baby. But it is a little more slight, it's not wooded as much, and it is younger. So it's the vibrant, lively expression of Sangiovese from a Brunello producer, Rosso di Montalcino from Tenuta di Sesta. Really delicious, accurate expression of Sangiovese. Got to get in on this, all right? Have it with a ribeye. I know I said that about the big Cabernet. This is not as big, and yet Sangiovese and ribeye, delicious. It works. Why don't we stay in Italy for one more wine? I think we'll come back to Italy later. Well, maybe. I can't even remember how many things are on this list. This is by Vaira. I think that's how you say it. It's an unusual Piemontese name. This is from a Barolo producer. It is not Barolo. This is Superiore Barbera. And it is not inexpensive like $15 Barbera. It's up there a little bit. But man, it's a class act. A lot of people will age this beautiful Superiore Barbera by a great producer, a Barolo, by the way. We could have talked about that wine, but instead we are featuring a beautiful Barbera this time around. Great acidity, great, beautiful nose of roses and a little bit of chocolate going on, a plumminess. Have it in a probably a Burgundy glass. Vaira. We're lucky to have it. Doesn't get out much. Okay. Gear shift. Let's go to Australia. Wait, you're leaving? No, stay here. Because this is not what many of you would anticipate as coming from Australia. This is Pinot Noir, as grown down in Victoria, in the sub-region of Victoria called the Yarra Valley. It's called Giant Steps, and even that makes it sound big. It is pretty, it's little. It's giant steps on its tiptoes. It is so pretty and kind of dilute in color, so you're thinking, oh, man, this is not gonna be a big wine, and you're right, but it's big in expression. It's got great acidity, it's got rose petals and cherry and spice, baking spice, a little baking spice, and maybe a finish of tea, but it wakes up your mouth. It is fantastic food wine. Have it with salmon. Giant Steps, Pinot Noir, an unlikelihood, a delicious unlikelihood, and that's why it is on the list. Now, let's stay in the land of Pinot, but, well, go to another land for Pinot. For, next on the list, Kanzler. Kanzler has provided great grapes to the likes of Kosta Browne over the years, and now they make their own wine. This is gorgeous Russian River Pinot Noir. Enough said, except it should be said that it's a 2020, and this particular vineyard, this location within the Russian River, which was also sometimes affected, often affected by the smoke tank in 2020, they escaped it. I've tasted this, it's fantastic. I'm glad not all the fruit got thrown away and was saved for Kanzler Pinot Noir. Get in on that. Back to Australia for yet another not so Australian wine, or let's just say not so Barossa style Syrah, or Shiraz as they call it down there. Why? Because we're not in Barossa. We are in fact in, I believe, Adelaide Hills. Yes, there it is, Adelaide Hills. Farther south, cooler region, halfway to France in style. Very elegant wine. Very, the palate feel is silky. Put this in a Burgundy glass again. I'm really promoting that glass, and I hope we still have some in stock down there in case you don't have those glasses yet. Shaw and Smith Shiraz, they might as well call it Syrah because it is more elegant than a Barossa style big ass Shiraz. This is pretty, this is feminine. Can I say that? It is. It's just really curvy, lovely. All right, where are we gonna go now? Yes, you know, somewhat along those lines because it's the exact same grape variety and the same style, one could say, but from a very different place. Northern Rhone Syrah. This is by Yves Couleron, and he is one of the greatest producers of Northern Rhone wines, whether they are white, like Condrieu, or red, like Carotti and Cornas and Hermitage and like that. But many of those wines cost a lot more than this. This is beautiful Northern Rhone expression of Syrah that doesn't like break too much of the bank. 100% Syrah coming from Saint-Joseph, Yves Couleron. Lovely, lovely wine. Once again, use that Burgundy glass for this, all right? Well, we're gonna stay in the Rhone, but we're gonna go down the Rhone River as we did on that river cruise so long ago and visit Mas de Boislasson for the Dulchen Châteauneuf-du-Pape. This is a 2020. 2020 is kind of a relief for some of us who thought we've had enough huge vintages recently, like 16 and 19 especially, were big, dark, powerful wines, and you kind of have to put those down and let them settle down a little bit. 2020, you can crack them now. Beautiful now. It will age. This is a great aging wine. Why? Because unlike many that are GSMs, this is just G and M. This is Grenache, 70% and 30% Mourvedre. This particular house highly values Mourvedre and the way that it helps their wines age. Remember we were talking about Clio back then and saying that wine will age because it's Mourvedre? So will this. Just that 30% of Mourvedre will really help this go long, but it's graceful. That's what you could say about 2020 vintage for Châteauneuf-du-Pape. More graceful, more pretty, and what a relief. Must say, nice wine. Châteauneuf-du-Pape. Well, we can't drink Châteauneuf-du-Pape every night, right? So let's go right across the Rhone River from Châteauneuf-du-Pape to Lirac. Lirac, in big bold letters there. As you know, the French Europeans often name their wines by location, and that location name will often be the biggest font on the label. Lirac by Domaine au Château de Ségrier. Beautiful place. Actually, it's not. The place is kind of a dump, but it's clean inside. It just doesn't look like kept up. Because this hardworking family, it's family owned by really lovely people. They put all their work into making quality wine in very clean cellars and working on their vines right outside the door. So they don't really have time to make this a beautiful ivy-covered hospitality center for you, but you can visit them and you'll be charmed by their generosity, and they're just real. They're genuine people. Genuineness, no, whatever. At any rate, this is going to be Grenache with Syrah. So this is darker. They do that in Lirac. They add a little bit more Syrah over there to the Grenache. Dark, yummy, and it's 2019, so that confers darkness as well. Really nice drink for the mid-20s. A very, very, very good value year after year. It's been on the shelf a lot here. All right, let's stay in France, but let's go somewhere else. Why not to Alsace? We don't have many bottles of this. We don't have many consumers for it because A, it's expensive, B, it's Gewürztraminer, and C, it's older and a lot of people don't get it. Like, it's 2012. How is that going to be good anymore? This is Trimbach. It is good. It's got the ratings, 93 across the board from like 6 different critics. And we tasted it at Alsace Day. So some of you have already had it and picked up a few bottles. I think we have 4 or 5 left of Trimbach. It's single vineyard stuff. It comes from a Grand Cru vineyard, even though they're not identifying that on there. Ribeaupierre is all they're saying, but I think Trimbach isn't big on the whole Grand Cru thing, maybe. Their wines are dry. That's the Trimbach house style. Dry Gewürztraminer, fragrant. Orange oil is the main impression here. Really delicious. If you're doing pork roast, do this. What else do we have here? Hey, here's another beautiful white. Doesn't cost quite as much. This is by a producer named Fabrice Garnier. I think I got that right. Yep, Fabrice. And it is 100% the best grape in the world. It comes from the Loire Valley region of Chinon. Now, Chinon is, when you're seeing it on a label, normally red wine made of Cabernet Franc. We don't see Chinon Blanc hardly at all. I think this is the second one we've ever carried in our 22 years. This is beautiful, dry Chenin Blanc. It's wispy, it's evasive. I love it, not for what it is, but kind of for what it isn't. It's like, you gotta chase it down. It flirts and then leaves. Beautiful Chenin Blanc by Fabrice Garnier. That's fun to say. And this is very, very fun to say. In fact, if you come in asking for it, please look around and make sure there are no children about, all right? Because it would be very inappropriate for you to come in and say, would you please show me your La Pinesse? I know, it's called that. I mean, the French didn't really mean for it to be funny, but this is Chateau La Pinesse from the region of Barsac, which is part of the Sauternes region. So yes, this is a dessert wine, full size, big ass bottle of Sauternes, basically Semillon and Sauvignon Blanc. They say about Barsac that they're not quite as heavy as the Sauternes of Château d'Yquem and such. So it's a little more lift to it. If you're doing like a fruit tart, peach, apricot, that kind of thing. I love La Pinesse. It's so good. Yes. Enough of that. Here is another Bordeaux, but now it's the red stuff, it's the dry stuff, and it's older. We don't really get to show you library very often, but this is 2012 Franck Pataravey. I think that's how you say it. Chateau Franck Pataravey. It is a right bank, therefore based on Merlot with a little bit of Cab Franc and probably some Cabernet in there as well. But this isn't a great phase 2 place. So if it's a dark and stormy night and we're finally getting some of those and you're doing meat that's falling off the bone and a dog's over there hoping for the bone and a fire is roaring and outside it's raining, maybe I already said that, it's the night for a mellowed out Bordeaux. 2012, we are so lucky to have this. It is a expression of development. Lovely wine. Oh boy. Wait. Oh shit, I killed the tree. Okay. I have more trees. No, I think just the batteries fell out. Well, that's a monster. Hey, do you recognize this? This is beer, not wine, and it's a wine. It's a beer that we have had on tap for quite a while now, right? In fact, it's the one that stays on tap all the time. We will always have St. Bernardus, arguably one of the best beers in the world. In fact, the Beer Advocate says it is. And it is a quad, whatever that means. It's kind of higher alcohol beer. You're gonna need a lot of friends around you when you open this Methuselah, meaning it's a 6-liter size bottle. You know, brave enough to buy only a couple of these. Comes in a beautiful wooden box, and you can do your daily weightlifting until that party day has arrived. Wow, St. Bernardus, that is impressive. What else is impressive? Something else that's not wine for once, coming from the wine steward. Eric Edgar can't drink red wine anymore. He can drink beautiful white wine, and he's also compensated by getting hard into cider, or into hard cider. So this is 6 different ciders that he has selected for the 2022 cider box, personally selected by our own Eric Edgar. He knows all about cider to the extreme that he even makes his own cider out of quince and apple and such. So, you know, we got a house cider pro now, which is kind of cool. I don't know if there's a credential for that, but anyway, he should have it. All right. More wine. I think we have about 8 to go. We got to fly through these. Malaguzia. You know, if Elon Musk has yet another kid, he'll probably name his kid Malaguzia, especially if he drinks this beautiful Greek white wine. The grape name, Malaguzia, from a producer called, I don't know, Naranci. All Greek to me, but the wine is not. It's very delicious. It's $19.99, $17.99 for White Wine Club members. No oak. Vibrant and yet fleshy. It's exotic. It's delicious. It is brainy and refreshing at the same time. It's delicious white wine from Greece, Malaguzia. Go for it, Elon. All right. Let's go to Sardinia now. Sardinia for Barua. This is 85% Carignano. Carignano, otherwise known as Carignan, is very important in the Mediterranean, but you rarely see a wine from the Mediterranean that's based on Carignan. This is 85% with a little bit of Merlot and Cabernet added, as grown on the island of Sardinia. Barua, kind of gruff, but it twinkle in his eye. And great with food. You want to have it with hearty foods like stews and cassoulet, things like that. And ageable, very ageable. This is world-class wine, made by the folks who make Sassicaia, by the way, the very famous Super Tuscan. Barua is back. And Barua is one of the wines that inspired us to make a Carignan-based wine this time around for our 4th Plus de Vie. Domaine de Plus de Vie, you knew this was going to show up on the video. This is 60% Carignan, 40% Mourvedre. It is singing right now. You kind of have to understand what Carignan does to a wine, and this will help you understand. There's like dark, unsweetened chocolate happening in the wine, along with berries and cherries and pomegranate and blood orange, perhaps. Really intriguing wine. Don't forget the Mourvedre component that will help this wine age. Remember the lesson about Mourvedre, right? Domaine de Plus de Vie, label designed by Jason Cryer. Well, Dick and Sandy, we had to take this out of your box, out of your order downstairs, because we don't have any on the shelf right now. We're getting 3 more cases today, we hope and think. This is Romerol Petit, that's the name of the French dude who makes this Morgon. 100% Gamay from the crew of Beaujolais called Morgon. Morgons often cost well more than $25 now. This is $25 down to $22.50 for your wine club members. A fantastic expression of one of the truly great wines of the world called Gamay from Beaujolais. We're not talking about Nouveau here. This is really lovely wine, fragrant, think Pinot Noir maybe, and you can feel the decomposed granite happening in the wine. You get fruit and then a little ironic finish to it. Hey, let's go north from there to Burgundy again. I know we did Burgundy earlier, but did we do a red? No. Let's go to Fissan. That's how you say it. You say Fixin or Fissan. It's said both ways over there. But this is Fissan by Domaine de Vieux Collage. We've gotten into Fissan recently as a lesson in buying proximity. In other words, right next to it are more famous Marsanne to the north and Gevrey-Chambertin to the south. They cost more. This delivers the same goods, you could say, for a lower price. Buy proximity, buy this beautiful Pinot Noir from Fissan. You will not be disappointed. What's next? Well, we have to give a nod to a location I also visited recently on that trip to Iberia, we should say, because even though we were in Spain, we started in Porto, Portugal. And this is a 20-year port. Better than 10-year port, 20-year port, and perhaps better than 30-year port. I think this is where the sweet spot is for tawny port. Oxidized port that you can drink for months. You don't have to polish off the bottle within a couple of days. So don't worry about it going bad all that fast on you. 20-year port from Romariche. It's actually made by Taylor Fladgate, and we're happy to have it because nobody else has it out here. We're pretty unique on the West Coast for having Romariche 20-year tawny. Again, I think by the time you're spending more money for a 30-year, you're getting diminishing returns, and I think diminished quality too. A lot of my vendors agree with me that 20-year tawny is where it's at, for where tawny is at its best as far as age. That means it's an average age of 20 years. There's older stuff in here. Oh, I love this wine. I love this wine. You know, a lot of people will buy up for great Cabernet, for great Bordeaux, great Barolo, great Chardonnay even. They will spend a lot of money for great Chardonnay. They don't often think as often about buying great Sauvignon Blanc, but you've got to think about having some of this. Yes, it pops over $40, but Symbol from the Long Chavez people up in Washington State is a class act. Vibrantly aromatic with nectarines and mangoes, maybe some guava. What a big, beautiful nose. And on the palate, you got palate feel. It's not all that thin and insipid. It's got flesh on its bones. I think I said that earlier, but it's got some nice mouthfeel because of the concrete egg fermentation and a little kiss of oak as well. Not too much oak, but just a little. This is world-class Sauvignon Blanc, and yes, there is such a thing. I told you. All right, let's stay in Washington. You know, we love that area, so it has to appear at least once or twice on the list. This is D2 by DeLille Cellars. We bought up on this because it appeared on the top 100 Wine Spectator list as position number 30, and all of a sudden everybody, all the score whores were asking for it. Well, we've always loved this wine. We've always been true to it. They've been true to us by giving us several cases, allocating more cases than they would to other people because we have history with them. We weren't just looking for a wine off of that list. This is Merlot-based, Bordeaux-style, red blend from Washington State. And it really confirms the idea that Washington is kind of the idea of California Cab mixed with the idea of Bordeaux as far as styling goes. This is it. D2, affordable, ageable, drinkable now, and you can age this for at least 10 years. Yes, affordable and ageable. Now, I had one more entry on the list. One more, and yet I tasted this as I was preparing the Wine Club notes for this month. And yes, guys, the Wine Club wines are ready to pick up. So that was number 39. This is number 39 and a half. This is Casale del Giglio, as sold to us by a very nice guy named Angelino, and it is made of Cesanese. Now, why do I love this wine? A, because it's affordable, B, because it's good, and C, because it's unlikely that we would ever carry a Cesanese, because in Rome, where this is made, maybe an hour out of Rome, but this is the drink of the Romans, and rarely in a glass with a stem. It's like goes into a tumbler, and people don't regard Cesanese as ever going to be very good wine. Well, this price is in the low 20s, maybe 20 bucks for Wine Club members, and it's good Cesanese. That's why it's going to the Wine Club, and we bought some extra so that the rest of you could have this nice, solid, red, very comforting palate feel, plummy nose, good structure, good balance, good length. It feels good on a cold night to have this this wonderful Cesanese along with a big plate of pasta with bolognese. Okay, Casale del Giglio Cesanese. Yes, it is on the list. The last wine, you could say it emulates in an Italian way. The D2 from DeLille Cellars. This is a longtime favorite, Il Fano, the new vintage thereof. This is Bordeaux grapes as done in Tuscany. No Sangiovese in this blend at all, but man, it tastes Tuscan, it tastes Bordeaux, it tastes good now, it tastes good, it will in 10 years, I promise. This affordable wine can also be cellared. I would not buy one bottle of this, I would scoop up 6 and have maybe one bottle every year, or buy a case and have one every year, because it will be good for 12 years, I promise. This is Il Fano di Arcanum, the final wine on our list, but certainly not number 40. It is number 1 in another way, just in quality. You listen to a lot of stuff. I appreciate it. I wish you all a happy holiday season, you and yours, and get in here, all right? And the list is coming in the email. Thanks so much. Bye-bye.